And now, Tales from the Bargain Bin, with your host, Skullsy the Skeleton Head.
Hello there, boils and ghouls. You caught me while I was busy doing a little fright reading. I know normally on here I'm bursting my bones with energy and excitement over an old failure to trash. But in this case, I'm savoring the moment a bit more because the fall of Battle Spirit's saga is still ongoing. And it's a shame, too. As a bit of a spirit myself, I have a soft appreciation for it. I mean, think about it. This is a game with a history, a pedigree, a huge amount of crossover potential, and yet it seems like this saga has already found itself one foot in the bargain bin. So what happened? What made the flagship game from a successful company wind up in such grave peril? Well, a few grave errors for one, and many of them are pretty easy to understand going in. But don't take my bones for it. Let's take a deep gaze into the abyss.
You can't brute force the next big thing. So, Battle Spirit's Saga was released earlier this year, and from the looks of it, is going to have a repeat performance of its last worldwide release back in 2009. But how though? I mean, it's the flagship card game brought to us by the company that brought us Dragon Ball Super, Digimon, and One Piece in card form, and their launch was a media blitz! It had huge release events, free demo decks, celebrity endorsements, tournaments with massive cash prizes, but they didn't work. And in some cases, I would argue, straight up backfired. Let's start from the beginning. Battle Spirits, Bandai's response to Takara Tomi's Duel Masters, originally came out in September of 2008 in Japan, with a worldwide release just 1 year later. It came out at the tail end of what I call the Flood era, and was helped along by the usual children's media push, where the main character gets isekai'd to another world by getting kidnapped by butterflies. Oh, Truck-kun, you are out of a job! But the push worked, and Battle Spirits soon moved into being Bandai's flagship card game, still being printed to this day in its native Japan, though a lot of what makes the game popular over there are the various tie-ins. Because Bandai is like Japan's largest children entertainment company. They have Gundam, they have Dragon Ball, they have Pretty Cure, they have One Piece, they have Digimon, they have Ultraman, and Battle Spirits was often used as the vehicle for such tie-ins. Soon before the Digimon game we all know and love, they actually printed a special set of Digimon-themed Battle Spirits cards. And that's kind of what Battle Spirits was, a close competitor to Duel Masters that also sometimes acted as a showcase for Bandai's other properties. So, with the modern trading card game craze in full swing, and following the success of their other games, Dragon Ball Super, Digimon, and One Piece, it made sense to bring over the big guns, right? Well, yes, actually, but not how they did it. Battle Spirit's Saga is yet another sword and sorcery game defined by its unique resource mechanic. This game features these little beads called cores that you use to play cards. Cores work with cards of any color, so there is no color restriction in this game, but there are benefits to consistency. You see, each card in play has a core of its own, a colored core, and for each colored core you have on cards in play, you can get a discount on cards of the same color, limited by the number of cores next to that card's cost. Some cards can only have a few points removed from their cost, while others can have it straight up reduced to 0. Well, almost. You see, it's impossible to play a creature for free, since a creature must have at least one core on it in order to stay in play. This core is in addition to the monster's play costs, so each monster always costs at least one core. Monsters can also be given additional cores to level them up and make them stronger while unlocking additional abilities. Though, since you only have so many cores to go around, how you budget them is important. Now, you do get any spent cores back each turn, plus one more, can rearrange them freely on your turn before your battle phase, and even pay costs with the cores you have in play. On top of that, your life points are measured by 5 of these cores, and if you take damage, yes, that core gets added to your core pile, increasing your resources. Though you only get 5 of these cores, so don't rely on it too much. Now, compared to how the game was in 2009, a couple of large tricks have been added to the game, and those are the Soul Core and the Trap Zone. You get one red Soul Core in your starting budget and only ever have the one. This Soul Core does nothing on its own, but many cards call for it to activate an effect, making it another thing you have to budget. Traps work like the secrets in Hearthstone, set down until their trigger is activated, at which point they are played for free, but can also be paid for to use their normal effect on top of it. You only get one trap zone though, so its effect is limited. Each color has their own way of playing, whether it's ramping cores, or being super aggro, or whatever it is that blue does.
Hi there, I'm Gordon.
It's a fine game, and that is the problem. It's fine, not incredible. And honestly, the way it launched could not have been in a worse state. Battle Spirits SAGA launched as yet another game styled after the high fantasy works of J.R.R. Tolkien, with colors and monsters and life points and all that stuff. Literally the most tread ground in trading card games. Magic the Gathering, Duel Masters, Dragonborn, Grand Archive, Shadowverse Evolve, Kaijudo, Argent Saga, Force of Will, Shadow Era, World of Warcraft, Cardfight Vanguard, Maple Story, freaking Munchkin. Bold strategy to launch a 15-year-old game in such a saturated market. And boy howdy does it ever look like a game released 15 years ago. The first set of Battle Spirits SAGA consisted mostly of remixes of cards from the original 2009 run, after all. And actually, now that I look at it, these 15-year-old cards are so much easier to read. The white text boxes with the black text, so much clarity. The level ups listed as cause and effect. This many cores gets you this level, gets you this power. Outside of the garish border and discount listing, this is a much better design. What happened? Why in this new card game is there white text next to white text boxes? Why are level ups effect then cause? Did the design actually get damaged from 15 years ago? These new cards with their splashy colors and white text are actually kinda difficult to read, something known as a pain point in game design, a small inconvenience that makes a game unpleasant to play. Common pain points include overwhelming details, poorly organized information, and illegible text. I mean, look at Bandai's other games! It's the same thing! What the heck happened here? It says a lot about your game when letters in brackets makes a card easier to digest than colored icons. Whew. Actually, I just checked and it looks like Japan still uses the old design even today. This new look is a SAGA exclusive, baby! Okay, I'll admit, it was only while I was working on this script that I noticed the lousy visual design. Although I suppose that's not a death sentence. I mean, One Piece is apparently doing well, and it has visual design that's drier than toast. I mean, I don't even see any flavor text on here or anything. Like, who is this guy? Can you tell me anything about this guy from this card? I mean, this is a game based on a franchise. There should be some kind of hint here. So, how come Battle Spirits SAGA seems to have failed? Well, aside from the droll premise and hostile visual design, I'd say it comes down to the marketing. Recall, Battle Spirits is a game with a distinct pedigree, a long history, and access to tons of different franchises. So, how do you market it to the United States? Mention none of it, talk only about money, and try to rope in celebrities to promote your game in a brute force approach, of course! Let's go! I mean, that's weird, right? Take a game that's famous and established in Japan, strip away all of that history and all of that connective tissue, and try again with a blank slate? As blank as these influencer boxes? Downplay everything it brings to the table to make it look more like the 2009 failure? That's an oddly specific way of putting it, but yeah? So, like I established before, Battle Spirits SAGA was brought out in response to the success of not only Bandai's other games, but to the TCG price bubble that started during the pandemic. One so extreme that people are willing to desecrate a literal art museum to try to get cards to sell. Really? Is this what the fandom has become? Oh, yeah, and the money thing. So how does one encourage people to buy into their amazing new game? By providing interesting lore and game interactions? Nah. By sharing the history of the brand by putting old materials on YouTube? Pfft, don't be silly. By releasing a good game that speaks for itself? Who do you think we are? No, the big push for Battle Spirit Saga was cash prizes, moolah, sponduli, dollars. The way they pushed Battle Spirit Saga was how they had a whole year's worth of cash prize tournaments, with a prize pool of $1 million. Yes, by playing our card game, you can win money! It's such a huge part of their campaign that it's literally the first thing mentioned on their how to play tutorial video.
Battle Spirit Saga, huh? I heard they have tournaments with cash prizes.
Oh my god, it's just like one of those awful mobile game ads that promise you money for nothing. In fact, it literally is one of those ads. Oh my lord. This comes across as incredibly insecure, like trying to throw money at difficult questions to make them stop. So, what's your game? Oh, it's a game where you can win cash prizes! I mean, what's your game like? It's like making a ton of money! No, I mean, how does your game play? Money! It also ignores the fact that, just like with video games, the vast majority of trading card game players don't care about this kind of thing. They don't want to have to pack up and make a 3-hour drive to the nearest regional tournament. They want something they can pick up and play at their local game store. And speaking of money spent badly, let's talk about how the game was advertised. Like I said, they took a bit of a brute force approach to this and sent special influencer kits to random people. I mean, they sent it to people like Moist Critical, Matt Pat, ProZD, and Avril Lavigne? Does she play card games? Meanwhile, people like me, who specialize in trading card games and who regularly use a playmat from the 2009 Battle Spirits on his channel, didn't even get a phone call. Yeah, I had to get my demo decks by winning a contest. I mean, sure, they got results from ProZD, who really threw his all into his videos, but ProZD plays card games. These other folks, I don't think are really known for that. And it really shows with the level of enthusiasm they're putting into this promotion. So why do this at all? Why send product to these people, likely paying an endorsement fee, who probably will never actually open and play with it? Well, this is my hunch. Bandai wanted a pocket celebrity. I mean, Magic has Post Malone, Warhammer has Henry Cavill, and Bandai wanted one for Battle Spirits. So they went with the girl who sang Skater Boy 20 years ago. Bro, that exact sort of behavior is what Selector Infected WeCross made fun of in its show. Like the singing idols who endorsed the game were, you know, the bad guys. And, I mean, does Avril Lavigne play card games? If she does, she sure isn't well known for it, not in the hand-painted miniatures or shelling out millions of dollars for a single card sort of high-profile thing I'm sure Bandai was banking on. I mean, they do have ProZD and Shuffle Master with their own special cards now, but it feels a little desperate at this point. And the result of this campaign was way too many people half-heartedly shilling the brand online, an effect that I've heard at least one person say Battle Spirit Saga is the Raid Shadow Legends of card games, something tuned out due to overexposure. Although, moving on to the actual product itself, we have our usual spread of starter decks and booster packs, and even a special little box that contains a couple of promo cards and the cores needed to play without any markup over the packs inside. Neat! I actually like this product a lot. I mean, it's not like they did something stupid, like the first set only including 4 of the 6 colors or anything. Oh, they did? So, the Battle Spirits card game has 6 colors. Always has. And so Bandai decided the best way to relaunch the game in America was to not use them all. Now, I've heard all the excuses, all of them, but I will stand by my declaration that if you buy a game and open it to find a third of the parts missing, you would have good reason to be upset. I don't care that it's what One Piece did, I don't care that it's what Digimon did. In fact, it's not what Digimon did. They literally rearranged the opening sets to include all 5 colors on its international release. Battle Spirits is 15 years old. You're not surprising anybody by adding more colors later. And I mean, it's not like the colors are hard-lined. You can mix these colors for free. For free! So let's see if we can figure out why they just had to call this set. Dawn of History, a bold name since the game tossed all of its history aside, is an opening set of just 136 cards. Pretty small for an opening set, honestly. Low for Bandai, even. I guess the idea is to try to keep complexity low? Make it easier to accumulate commons from a single box? Well, I don't really think it works that way. If we compare it to the Digimon Premiere set, you know, the one that was reconstructed to feature all 5 colors day one, which I also hold as one of the best booster products ever made, its set size is 187, trading the foil slot for a second rare slot, as a lot of the additional cards in the set are rares, and resulting in at least half a playset of every common card, at least 1 copy of every uncommon card, and a good handful of rares, double the number of packs in there. A little trading and maybe a second box, such as one that a friend purchased, and you have most everything you need with very little waste. Like I said, probably one of the best booster products ever. And the premiere set for Battle Spirit Saga, that cut out 2 whole colors, is 51 cards smaller for reasons? So let's break this set down. The idea is that 136 divided by 4 is 34. Battle Spirits is a 4-playset, 50-card deck game, so a monocolor deck at bare minimum needs 13 different cards. So each color gets practically 3 times that. This is because each of the 4 colors in this set is given 3 archetypes to play with. For example, red is given Star Dragon, Pterosaur, and Emperor Beast, fully supported and statted out. Wait, I thought the goal was to reduce complexity. So yeah, the idea was that each color could get some robust opening support, even if it waters down the color identity a bit, but time for some more math. So if we have 4 colors at 3 archetypes apiece, that gets us 12 archetypes total. But I can't help but notice, you know what else adds up to 12? 6 times 2! If they had dropped just 1 archetype from each color, even if they never reached into that 51 card buffer that separated it from Digimon, they could have fit all 6 colors in with 2 decks each, fully supported. Oh, but I forgot something, because the starter decks contain their own unique cards not included in the base set, supporting yet another archetype and adding a further 16 cards per color. So in reality, each of the 4 colors got 50 cards each, meaning you could build an entire deck using just 1 of each card, while green and blue got nothing. I mean, we could have had all 6 at 39 cards each, quite literally 3 fully statted out decks for each color, but nope, gotta save green and blue for later sets. In case you don't get it now, even mathematically this whole thing is a farce. So that's our set 1, a dull set built on muddy, well-trodden ground, missing a third of its parts, whose only advertised selling point is paid tournaments.
What could possibly go wrong?
Ah, yes. Beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. Glitz, glam, and gobs of expendable income. What more could you want for a game launch tournament? And to think, there's a possible $25,000 in prizes. So let's go to the Las Vegas Convention Center and... where is everybody?
My, it's a veritable ghost town here.
Okay, from what I've heard, there was also a combination of bad timing, as well as very, very poor event planning. Apparently, there were 0 actual tournaments planned on the first day of the event, just product sales. Bandai was probably expecting that to take up the entire day with lines around the block, and that didn't happen. And with nothing else to do, what few people did show up kinda grabbed their product and left. There were no side events, no mingling setups, no big demo areas, not even a feature match to stream online. Heck, I don't even see any large signs outside the venue to draw people in. They rented a hall in Vegas for this and didn't have the money or forethought to set up a feature match system? A thing so easy to do that even local game stores have them? Man, this is depressing. This is a premier tournament with a huge cash prize, and its turnout is less than a Brothers War Jumpstart tournament. And people hated Brothers War Jumpstart. I mean, at least the launch in Australia bothered to have a live stream with feature matches, but there's this uncanny thing where the camera is pointed at this mostly empty part of the tournament hall, and... Whoa. And how about those box prices? Ooh, wow. Holding steady at a whopping $20 below cost. Forget breaking even, these are loss reduction prices here. And lest we forget, I did a video that features a booster box I found sealed for a whopping $20. And I'm actually seeing some on TCG Player that were selling for $15, so now I kind of feel like I was ripped off. And were there any issues with that box?
Common, uncommon, uncommon, and the foil is a common. So that is 1, 2, 3.
Oh, right! 2 of the packs had no rares in them.
It happened again! No way!
Like I said in my video, Building Better Boosters,
There is one constant in all of booster pack design, and that is...
the rare slot is sacred. It's not long before people are buying booster packs exclusively for that one little rare slot, and a pack with no rare in it might as well be a massive screw you from the game company.
It should go without saying that 1 rare per pack is industry standard, and nothing, and I mean nothing, should interfere with that rare slot.
I mean, part of this is that booster packs in the United States are different from those in Japan. The ones in the United States are usually twice the size and twice the price. But that guaranteed rare is part and parcel with that increased price tag. Actually, it gets worse. The packs with no rares inside were apparently intentional, to the point that a rare in every pack is a selling point of set 3? I mean, weird that it took them 3 sets to realize this was a bad idea, but here we are. Also, can I say something? This is just a super dull color spread. I mean, reddish purple, red, reddish yellow, and white? Man, some blue or green would have really made this set more vibrant, huh? Couldn't we have spiced this up by, I don't know, including some of the Bandai franchises that have gotten cards before? I mean, if we dropped even just 1 or 2 of these archetypes in favor of some of the Bandai crossover cards, we could have had, like, giant dragons versus the Power Rangers. And not the safe imitation Power Rangers seen in Game Mino, like, I mean, honest to God, genuinely, bona fide, crazy angry, gosh darn, mighty morphin Power Rangers! I mean, some might say that crossover cards like this spoil the sterile experience of the card game, but when that experience is bran flakes, give me a bit of flavor. Oh, and in comes set 2, False Gods. Man, that's a name. Crossing over with another established Bandai property, Mobile Suit Gundam. In False Gods, you get 1 per booster box. And there's only 6 different cards. And they're reprints of cards normally printed at Uncommon. But hey, at least we have green now. Yeah, no joke, I heard a story at my local game store that folks would walk in, buy the Gundam Box Topper promo, and leave the rest of the cards behind. And that's really what's happened here. Bandai overhyped a game that did not deliver on the reasons it's popular in Japan, and because they hyped it up to stores and distributors like the next big thing, these stores bought sets 1 and 2 like it was going to be the next big thing. And then it wasn't the next big thing, so now these stores are stuck with all of this stock that they now have to liquidate. Now, I don't think Bandai is entirely to blame here. I mean, they are to blame for not understanding the market forces and marketing it like this, but just like with Duel Masters and Magic the Gathering or Yokai Watch and the Xbox, things perform better in their native countries. Japanese folks are more likely to buy Japanese games, and American folks are more likely to buy American games, at least in the oversaturated genre of Tolkien-esque minion fighters. On the upside, it is now super cheap to get into the game if you want. Top tier decks can be bought with pocket change, and you can easily buy some boxes to crack and have fun with some friends. On the downside, yeah, it's basically over for Battle Spirit Saga. When so many stores are burned by so much leftover stock, there's no way they're going to keep carrying it. Bandai is unlikely to get the orders they want for their level of investment, and I'd be surprised if they make it past the year. I mean, the new set just released to fanfare? Is it called fanfare when the instrument is a single trombone and it sounds like this? Yeah, set 3 comes out when boxes for sets 1 and 2 are at an all-time low. I don't know, maybe the introduction of Blue will save the game. Ooh. Update, it got liquidated day 1. And I have heard rumors of set 4 introducing Neon Genesis Evangelion as a full tie-in archetype, like how it should have been all along. But it feels like it's too little too late. Stores are dumping it, most distributors probably aren't going to carry it, and at this point, set 4 is probably going to be little more than some obscure Amazon exclusive. So let's go over this one more time for the people in the back. Battle Spirit Saga had a disastrous launch for several reasons. They stripped away the history and crossover potential of the game, the very things that would have interested non-Japanese players. Said stripping made their game's aesthetics commonplace and forgettable in an already saturated market. They failed to pick their endorsements carefully, generating a flood of lukewarm, unenthusiastic advertising. Their big push was paid tournaments, something the vast majority of TCG players do not care about. And I'm not even going to talk about how they segregated the games, changed the rules, and printed powerful promo cards that are difficult to find, because those are just... ugh. So, what would I have done differently? Well, I'm not sure how much my efforts would change the fate of the game that is, again, a Japanese game releasing to a saturated market without being attached to a known intellectual property, but let's see. First, I would have embraced the history, built a YouTube channel with subtitled seasons of the old cartoons, like how Gundam Info and Ultraman do it. I would have involved tie-in cards out of the gate. People were keen on the Gundam cards, but they were so scarce that it failed to translate into sales, and the EVA support in set 4 is too little too late. I would have downplayed the paid tournaments to instead focus on community and experience. The Digimon Customs ad was genius, and Battle Spirits needed something like that. I mean, imagine this.
From the company that brought you Dragon Ball, Digimon, and One Piece comes their biggest game of all. The huge hit card game nearly 15 years running, reborn for its international debut. A dynamite combination of stunning original artwork and amazing collaborations enters a new phase of existence as Battle Spirit Saga.
See, not that hard. And in that regard, I would have picked my endorsements more carefully. For every Pro ZD, Bandai sent a kit to a dozen moist criticals who proceeded to show the game looking like they wanted to be doing literally anything else. And I would have banned Absolute Ice Shield. I mean, really? Outlaw a one-drop vanilla monster but not the card so format warping that literally every deck is running it at full playset regardless of color? I mean, come on, man.
So there you have it, boils and ghouls. Despite, and possibly because of, Bandai's best efforts, BSS turned out to be DOA. It goes to show that it doesn't matter how much flash something has. If it lacks substance, it winds up little more than an apparition without form. It's that level of care that makes the difference between distinct and deceased. What makes your game stand out from the rest should be clear and obvious. It doesn't matter how many times you bonk us with the boring hammer, it will never make it exciting, and might instead get you set up for a meeting with your maker, or, more likely, an express ticket to the bargain bin. And so, another tragic story comes to a close. Another hanging Chad in the wastebasket of history. One more shambling corpse marching to an early grave. And so, my precious boils and ghouls, with that, happy 15th birthday, Battle Spirits.